Morning, morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we are honoured to have a guy all the way from Sudan. I'm not sure if he's born there, but I know he's got a very American accent, so we will soon find out. But he's going to give us a brief history on Sudan's current affairs, and nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
That's good. So tell us, just to recap, you said you got a member of your family is a politician.
Yes.
And you were talking about the Liberation Party.
The Sudanese Liberation Army, yes.
So what's that? What's the acronym for that?
So the SPLA stands for the Sudanese People's Liberation Army, and they are the first group that went against the Arab North or the Sharia government in Khartoum to gain independence for South Sudan, which was gained in 2011.
Why did they need to go against them? What was the problem?
So firstly, these problems stemmed from a long time ago, from colonial times where the British split Sudan in half. And from that, they created a lot of ethnic tension in the sense of they created groups that didn't want to mix with each other. And then when it was the 80s with the discovery of oil, that basically exacerbated the whole situation and created tension, as North Sudan doesn't really have as many resources. So it was a land grab, which caused a lot of displacement, as we know. What we currently have in Darfur, one of the largest refugee camps, and Kakuma in Kenya and so on. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So when you said the British split,
yes,
is that the lines that are north and south today, or is that something?
So that has to do with the lines that were with that has to do with the lines that was, because Egypt and Sudan were one country at once.
Yep.
So when it's split over there, and it was the Africans and the Arab descendants, there was obviously tension with religion, with Islam and everything, and as you know,
that must have been one big country.
It was,
so
yes, the largest.
To like the biblical times and beyond.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
So that's when the pyramids were built, and your people, the Sudanese, built that side of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, I'm with you now. So the British in what 18th, 17th century, or whatever,
yes,
drew the lines.
Yeah.
And they divided out Egypt from Africa.
Yeah.
Egypt from Sudan.
Yes.
And then they did another line dividing north and south of Sudan?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
They basically divided it with religion, as they brought Christianity to the south, which a bunch of northerners never wanted to agree with that, because their whole goal was to establish a whole country that was majority Muslim, same religion, religious ideas, and so on.
Okay. Yeah. So your people fought for how long?
We fought for 50 years. It was the longest conflict in African history.
Okay, and you won, so to speak.
We won our independence in 2011. The CPA, which was signed by Dr. John Garang, the former first president of Sudan, signed in 2005, which established the ceasefire between the north and the south.
And is that the guy with the cowboy hat?
No, that is the guy that was before him, the president who died in the helicopter crash. Silva, that's the guy who took over after John Garang passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. I'm trying to keep up here.
Yeah.
So now, the Liberation Party are actually fighters. They're actually an official party.
They're an official party, yes.
What's the conflict for now? Because
the conflict right now has to do with ethnic tension between the majority Dinka and the Nuer. And these conflicts have been through hundreds of years. It started obviously with even simple things like cattle raiding and so on. And the conflicts just grew when people established power, and a majority of the seats in the government were handed to the Dinka, which the Nuer never agreed with. So in 2015, when we broke out in conflict again, unfortunately, only 5 years after establishing our independence, that caused a lot of problems and displacement and a lot of genocide towards the Nuer community.
You said, I understand you said it can be kicked off from cattle, theft, or
in rural bits,
in the rural bits and things like that. What was one tribe like more powerful and overruling the other tribes?
Yes, so the Dinka, I think, represent about 30% of the population in the whole of South Sudan. And they have a majority of the seats, from the president's seats all the way to a majority of the ministers. But now they're trying to establish, at least I would say it's getting better as they've started power sharing, with even establishing certain, given roles to various tribes, such as the Nuer, the Choli, and so on, to have to be represented in the government.
How many tribes in Southern Sudan?
I believe there, from the last thing I remember, it was 203. Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So, and there's one tribe that's got 30%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite a large country, yeah.
Yeah. I believe it is. Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So, if you could solve the issue,
Yes.
what would be your remedy?
I have a very progressive outlook, because I from what I've known, from what I've understood about the conflict, is it's a lot of outdated ideas. In my perspective, it's a lot of outdated ideas of how we. I personally would have I would establish what we currently have, what we're trying to achieve right now in terms of power sharing, of having a majority representation amongst the various tribes, as that will make individuals feel more comfortable. Also establish security, which is the priority, as there's conflicts every day. There's even refugee camps, UN camps being raided. So security is a priority.